The following content has been generated with artificial intelligence under minimal human supervision. The data presented may contain errors or inaccuracies. The opinions expressed in this content do not necessarily reflect the vision, position, or values of DigiAll. We recommend verifying critical information with additional sources before making decisions based on this content.
Welcome to DigiAll Tech News. Today is Monday, May 18th, 2026. I'm Kylie Brooks, and this is where technology becomes clear and engaging. Investors are not automatically rewarding companies that tie layoffs to AI, even in a market where AI has helped drive enthusiasm for stocks. AI's growing appetite for electricity is being framed as powerful enough to potentially revive an energy source many had written off. A new study suggests routine eye scans, analyzed by AI, could help identify people at higher risk of osteoporosis. Former Google CEO Eric Schmidt was booed during a University of Arizona commencement speech that compared AI to earlier computer revolutions. Some tarot readers are turning to chatbots for a second opinion, highlighting how AI is moving deeper into emotional support and personal advice. Let's start with a market signal that cuts against the easy AI narrative. CNBC looked at 23S and P 500 companies that explicitly connected layoffs to AI adoption or efficiency gains. As of May 15th, 13 of them, or 56%, were trading lower since those announcements, and the decliners were down about 25% on average. The examples are sharp. Nike cut nearly 800 US distribution center roles in January to accelerate automation, and its stock was down nearly 35%. Salesforce cut 4,000 positions in September while pointing to its AI-powered Agentforce bots, and its stock was down about 32%. Fiverr laid off 30% of staff to become an AI-first company, and shares plunged 54%. So is this really about AI, or is AI becoming the convenient explanation for ordinary cost-cutting? That question matters because jobloss.ai counts at least 112,000 AI-linked job losses since early 2025, while a November MIT study estimated AI could already handle 11.7% of the US labor market and save firms up to $1.2 trillion in wages. Investors now seem to be asking for proof of durable returns, not just smaller payrolls, especially when war, tariffs, and the unwind from pandemic-era overhiring are also moving the numbers. Now, to the energy side of the AI boom. Jim Cramer's CNBC column frames AI's electricity appetite as big enough to potentially revive a forsaken energy source. The important takeaway is not a specific project or plant, it is the pressure that AI infrastructure is putting on the grid conversation. Data centers do not just need chips and software, they need reliable power, and that turns AI growth into a question for utilities, grid operators, investors, and energy policymakers. Here's what is interesting. The same AI story that companies often sell as virtual, scalable, and cloud-based keeps running into very physical constraints. Electricity supply, transmission capacity, permitting, and public tolerance become part of the technology stack. I would be careful about treating any one energy source as the inevitable winner from AI demand. But the strategic point is already clear. If AI keeps expanding, the power system becomes a competitive bottleneck, not a background detail. In health tech, this is a genuinely practical use case if it holds up in real-world care. A study published in PLOS Digital Health tested an AI model called RetiAGE, which estimates biological age from routine retinal photos and connects that signal to skeletal health. The model was trained on 129,236 retinal images from 40,480 participants, then evaluated in a Singapore cohort of 1,965 people with an average age of 72.5, and in the UK Biobank with 43,938 people followed for an average of 12.2 years. Higher retinal age scores were linked with lower bone mineral density in hip and femoral regions, and in the UK Biobank, each standard deviation increase predicted incident osteoporosis with a hazard ratio of 1.12. People in the highest retinal age quartile had a 40% higher risk than those in the lowest quartile. That matters because osteoporosis is often found late, after fractures, while eye exams are routine and non-invasive. In practical terms, this could help flag people for DEXA screening earlier. The bigger question is whether retinal age is capturing causal biology or a useful correlation, and how well it calibrates across populations, cameras, and clinical workflows before anyone treats it as more than an added risk signal. At the University of Arizona commencement, Eric Schmidt tried to give graduates a long historical arc for AI, and the room pushed back. The former Google CEO compared the rise of AI to the computer, which Time named Person of the Year in 1982, and traced how computing led to laptops, smartphones, the internet, and social media. He also acknowledged the darker side, platforms that degraded the public square, rewarded outrage, amplified our worst instincts, and made public discourse coarser. But when Schmidt extended that parallel to AI and told the class of 2026 that the future is not yet finished, he was booed multiple times. What stands out is that he did not ignore the anxiety. He named fears that machines are coming, jobs are evaporating, the climate is breaking, and politics is fractured, then urged graduates to choose a diversity of perspectives, including the perspective of the immigrant. This matters because AI leaders often frame the technology as something society can shape, while many students are hearing a threat to work, trust, and stability. A similar moment happened earlier in May at the University of Central Florida, when Gloria Caulfield was booed after calling AI the next industrial revolution. That does not prove a national trend, but it does show how thin the patience can be when AI optimism meets graduates' immediate fears. And finally, AI is showing up in a place that sounds niche at first, but says a lot about how people use chatbots: tarot. Researchers interviewed 12 tarot readers for an April 2026 study and found that some practitioners are asking AI tools to interpret their own spreads, especially when the cards point in different directions. One example is the Fool, which can suggest a leap into the unknown, appearing alongside the Ten of Wands, which signals an unsustainable load. Some readers use the chatbot as an apparently objective second opinion, or as a way to challenge their own bias. A few even treat hallucinations as symbolically meaningful, almost like the randomness of a card draw. The broader context is important here. A 2025 Pew Research survey found nearly 1 in 3 Americans consult tarot or astrology at least yearly, and another recent survey found 87% of users turn to chatbots for relationship and mental health questions. That matters because advice is not just information, it can shape decisions, attachment, and self-understanding. The trade-off is subtle. AI can offer language, prompts, and alternate angles, but tarot depends on context and reflection, while chatbots often sound more certain than they really are. Used carefully, that can be a mirror. Used carelessly, it can become a substitute for judgment or human support. Today's through line is that AI is no longer staying inside product demos. It is affecting payroll decisions, energy planning, preventive health screening, campus trust, and even the private rituals people use to make sense of their lives. The useful question is not whether AI is important. It is where the evidence is strong enough to act, and where the story still needs much closer scrutiny. Thank you for staying informed with Digital Tech News. We'll be back with more updates as they develop.